9 dicks out of 10.
Hello, and welcome to another week of the Unnamed Technical Issue podcast. We've been having some technical issues with recording today, and I can't. We're just going to carry on, and if my audio is not synced again, you can all fuck yourselves.
Yeah, comment section.
No, and no one's mentioned it. I just get annoyed by it because I watch myself back. Anyway, as you can see, there's only two faces here today. It's like this on mine. I don't know how it is on Tempus's though.
It's about the same.
So we are missing a Nettle. So what happened last week is I put her in the cupboard. You know, after the podcast recording, put her in the cupboard where I usually put her. And then went in to go grab her like 5 minutes ago to start recording. She's gone missing. So there's a campaign to find Nettle. Not sure where she's gone.
Hashtag find Nettle.
Hashtag find Nettle. She'll maybe I'll open the cupboard next week and she'll be there. But I really need to check behind that poster. I reckon she's tunneled out.
The Cthulhu poster, yeah?
Yeah, the Cthulhu poster. I'll throw a rock at it, see if she Shawshanked it. It's literally just like the tentacles and it's just going.
Yeah, but like they're the only bits that are actually flapping in the wind from behind the tunnel.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what happens when we and Tempus do a podcast on our own. We start talking about absolute BS in the first 5 minutes. Hello and welcome. I'm Bendy. If you've listened to this podcast enough, which I think you guys do, you guys that keep returning, I don't know why. I am Bendy. I am the Admiral Idiot. And I like to play games from time to time. What about you? Who are you?
Hey, I'm a guy that likes games. My name happens to be Tempus. I'm also an idiot. Funny that. I'm the marshal of them. So.
To the skies.
To the skies. But yeah, that's me. I have a beard. If you've never seen me before.
You do have a beard.
Bit of description
very
for
jealous. It's a good beard.
I'll bring it to the barbecue.
Yes, do that. You please. Right. So what do we? Right. Podcast. I wrote down what I played this week because I'd forget otherwise. So Tempus.
Yes.
Have you been playing anything exciting? Because we do that. That's how usually it's welcoming what we've been playing, some news and then a thing. So let's stick with that. What have you been playing, Tempus?
Right.
Let me know.
Okie cokes. Right. So, stream-wise, been carrying on with Assassin's Creed Origins. I am enjoying it more than I probably thought I would because of what people have said in the past. But I think that is because it's more like the kind of games I have been playing of late. There's very little emphasis on the sneaky, really. They're like, if you can just fight your way through this, who cares? I've literally only just got the hidden blade, so that's.
They kind of shoehorned that in a little bit. It's like, gotta get a hidden blade in here somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how it got here.
It is because it's called Origins because it's the start of the whole Assassin's thing, I think, in it from here. So, but. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I'll find out properly when I get through the story because I've spent like the last 6 hours just doing question marks.
Hi Ubisoft.
Yes.
Send your question mark.
I mean, to be fair, it's not as bad as The Witcher 3 was, and I can actually deal with it because I can see things clearing. And that's the important part. I tried doing it with The Witcher 3 in my own time at one point. And I was clearing all these things every time I looked at the map, and I swear to God, they were just multiplying. But
you do one and another two would like a Hydra. You would kill one head and it would become return.
I mean, at least these are a little bit different as well. It's like with Witcher 3, it just feels like they were like, oh, let's just fill the map with all of these things, but let's not make them any different. Let's just make them all monster nests. I mean, I get that's his thing, but you've literally filled a map with monster nests that are like 5 meters apart. Like, how would these monsters not just fight each other? Other than that, Saturday night actually we played. You remember Get Packed? You played at WAST with Nell.
Yes.
We bought and played that at the weekend.
Fun. Did you?
Yeah. So me, Nettle, and Hull, we played through the story mode on it.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah, but it wasn't very long. Then we did some of the challengey stuff. So it was like demolition. So it was more our speed going and destroying things. Especially when you blow up 5 forklift trucks with one single canister of explosives.
Oh, boom! Literally, boom.
I mean, it was pretty fun, and I don't think I wouldn't say there's a lot of replayability in it with story mode, but probably the party game like versus stuff would probably be good.
It was a really funny time with me and Nate competing against each other at WASD. That was good fun. Enjoyed it. So yeah, just having a fun challenging each other on a Saturday night.
Yeah, no, I think we'll give the versus mode a go at some point. But when I opened it up and it was like, oh, there's a campaign, let's play through that. It just very much reminded me of a bit like Ember in its like, I don't know if you played Ember, but like in its comedy kind of thing. And
I saw videos of you guys playing Ember.
Yeah.
And just making lots of mistakes.
Excuse me.
Nettle then. She's not here. She can't fight herself.
Yeah, she can't fight. She can't defend herself. And then obviously the PlayStation Plus thing all launched last Thursday as well. So I've ended up buying the top tier one because they did a bit misleading when they said that all PS4 and PS5 games were on the middle tier. Because
is that the $16.99 one?
It's £13. Not too bad. I'm not grumbling too much. It's mostly because the Handsome Jack collection was on the higher one, and I want to play through the Handsome Jack collection.
I hope it goes, because Borderlands 3 is crossplay.
Yep.
Tiny Tina's is crossplay now. I hope they make Borderlands 2 crossplay, and then maybe we could do like a stream or something.
I own it on the Xbox as well.
Of course you do.
Why wouldn't I? But obviously,
we did start a new run of Borderlands 2 at some point, ages ago. We did, and then we just never carried it, never filled it through.
I think I've got the original version of Borderlands, the Game of the Year version of Borderlands, and then I've got the Handsome Jack collection. I did have Borderlands 3, but I was on disc, so I need to get it again. I still need to try. I will get Tiny Tina's at some point, but I'm just waiting for that to go on sale. I think I've got so many games I need to catch up on.
It's fine.
Yeah, well, if
it's good enough sale, then yeah. Definitely get it.
But it goes on sale at the minute, and it's like the really big edition goes down to like the price of the regular edition. I mean, if I was going to pay that money, I'd have bought it by now.
Yeah. But yeah. It's worth that.
But yeah, anyway, sorry, the PS Plus stuff come on. So I've been playing through Spider-Man again. Spider-Man. I downloaded that to play through that because I haven't played through Miles Morales, so I want to do that as well. But I thought it'd be cool to just go through that and that, because then you got Spider-Man 2 coming out.
Web.
Yes. And I did play, as Nettle's not here, I did play one of Nettle's walking simulator style games.
Ooh.
It's quite an old one called Dear Esther.
Aww.
It's got 5 chapters to it. You're literally walking along this dingy old island, retracing, basically picking up the story of someone that went there and kind of lost their mind a little bit. You've gone there to kind of like find them, or whatever, and it just retells it, like, and they tell you the story as you're going along and everything. But it's quite good, quite atmospheric. It didn't take me long, about an hour, I think, hour and a half, maybe at most. So it's pretty good. But I've also dipped into the Steam sale this week and got myself Left 4 Dead 2 for $1.43.
Nice.
Yes, so I'll be playing that as well.
I may have dipped in there too, but that might be a little bit of a surprise for upcoming weeks. I'll say in a minute what I bought.
It's fine. You don't have to spoil it. But and I randomly had £8 given to me from Microsoft, 2 lots of £4 for something. They were like, reasons. Here, have £4, and then like another one, here, have £4. So I had £8 to spend, so I bought 3 little games in the sale. So they'll be coming up soon.
Sweet.
Yes.
Sounds like a good run of games this week.
I have got a plethora to get through now, even more than 4. Anyway,
I actually had a look at the Steam sale because I've been putting things in my wish list because I want to use PC more because I am only a console gamer but you know what I got for 50p? Cthulhu Saves the World.
Did you? Oh, fantastic.
So I'm gonna play through Cthulhu Saves the World because carrying on with Cthulhu Saves Christmas feels a bit weird in July.
Yeah. I don't know, people have Christmas it's normally Christmas in June, isn't it? But
well, we'll see how that goes. But I also bought, but I've not played it yet, but I've seen people play it, Death Road to Canada.
I don't think I've heard of it.
It's a pixel art beat 'em up, I guess. Resource management game where basically you have to get from the US to Canada during a zombie apocalypse. You're going down the death road and you have to like keep fuel and stuff, and there's like breakable weapons. You have to stop at like roadsides to get fuel and food and medicine and all this sort of stuff. I've watched a couple of people play it on streams and things, and it looks really fun because you can create like your own characters that you meet along the way. So I'm gonna create obviously the unnamed gaming people, me, and then find you guys along the way.
You don't put Craig in this game.
I'm absolutely gonna put Craig in the game.
The big bad.
he'll just be bad at everything and wearing too many coats.
Yeah. Hey, you want to buy a coat? Like a trench coat, but then it's got other coats in under it.
He's selling coats through his coat. That's what happens when you join the Discord, you guys. You get your coats sold by Craig.
Craig, there's a cloakroom to keep it safe, but Craig literally just wears it.
Yeah.
You don't get a ticket, so gone.
Yeah, it's gone forever. He'll probably give it back to somebody else when they decide to leave. He's the greatest. We love Craig. Anyway, they're the games that I bought on the sale because Steam sales are absolutely ridiculous. I think altogether it cost me like £4 or something. It's like, sweet, good stuff. But things I've actually been playing, and please don't judge me. Don't judge me for one of these that I'm going to tell you that I've been playing.
Okay.
I started playing Fallout 76 again. Don't judge me! So after the announcement of the Pit DLC for Fallout 76, my friends that I play on a Thursday with got together and were like, it's on Game Pass, should we just jump in and see if we enjoy it? When I first played it, I played it by myself, and it wasn't that fun. And I think playing with other people is quite nice. We didn't have any problems with like other people in the server, like trying to kill us or anything. They weren't high enough to like turn off pacifist mode or anything like that. But I feel it's going to be good fun. It's going to be my new Thursday game because we finished Wonderlands. We're not really bothering with the DLCs, if I'm honest, because they look terrible. But So yeah, we were just following some story stuff and just exploring the Appalachia? Somewhere, wherever Mothman is from, it's there. But yeah, it was pretty good fun. I think we'll once we get more into the actual full story, I think we'll be all right, and then I'll let you know how the pit is. I played a little bit more Turtles, got that completed. Very good, very fun. Enjoyed that. And then I finished Life is Strange, True Colors. That game like kicks you in all the Life is Strange games sort of kick you in the feels. There was something about I did not see the twist coming. Did not see that coming at all. So other people were like, "Yep, I knew that was going to happen. It was definitely them." And I was like, "Sorry, what?" And then there was another bit. And I'm like, "So that, and then that, and then that. Oh, that's not nice." But it was very sad. And I didn't play it to get the best ending. Basically, you have to make everybody side with you when you what are the word I'm thinking of? It's not interrogate. No, I can't think of the word. But you obviously have to let someone know, like, you out someone in the story and you say, "You did this to me, this is what you did," whatever that word is. Confront.
Confront.
Sorry. So you confront someone and you have to get everyone to back you up. And I got most of the people to back me up. But there was one person that I didn't spend enough time with, so I didn't get everybody backing me up. Curses. But I didn't know that. I was just playing through the story as it was, and I didn't realise you pretty much had to romance everybody. Not romance, but
you romance everyone. You know this.
I mean, I did get with the hot chick.
Damn.
Love a bit of Steph. Not gonna lie. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. And then hopefully I can start playing some other new games for next time we record. So now I've got some Cthulhu because we love Cthulhu.
We do.
So that's it. That's what we playing. News, Tempus.
Yeah.
It's a pretty shocking news week.
It was.
There's not much going on. There's like no big announcements or anything like that. There was that big announcement the other week that we didn't speak about because Jesse was on. About us raging about Bobby Kotick.
Right, yeah.
Playing on the fucking board, but don't want to talk about that prick anymore. So
no, it's not fair for if Nettle's not here to rage about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
I'm sure it'll come up again. Don't worry.
But I've just been noticing that everything in the world leaks nowadays. Like,
yep.
Nothing is just
sacred.
A surprise when it's released, when it's announced anymore. There's some leaks came out, and that's kind of what my news is about this week. So there's been some little leaks on the Xbox Store, which have released the release date of Ubisoft's pirate game Skull and Bones.
Finally.
So finally, it's coming out. There's a release date, 8th of November, but that hasn't been officially released by Ubisoft yet. It's just because people are sleuthing around the store and they found a link to, I don't know how people sleuth, but they've seen that it's going to come out on the 8th of November. So you'll have a pirate game with a lot of question marks because it's Ubisoft. Gonna be like sea on the map, just lots of sea and then question marks everywhere.
It'll just be question mark. What?
That's what they should have called it. That's better than Skull and Bones. So that's all I could find. Nothing exciting.
I mean, yeah, the only other thing of interest that I saw was potential, like, was another Apex leak, but I didn't want to just go on that again. So, Nintendo did have a mini direct. I mean, it was still 25 minutes long, so it weren't terrible. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going to highlight some of the bigger things that were kind of said on it. As I got the video I watched this morning. This morning, about 20 minutes before we started. So, major ones I've picked up on: Super Bomberman R2. So, obviously, sequel. And there's a new mode in it, 1v5. The one person has to defend while the others attack.
That sounds amazing. I love Bomberman.
Yes. I think I got it on the Xbox, actually, because they finally brought it out on the Xbox for Games with Gold one time, didn't they? Let's just scrolling through the YouTube video I watched with the little segments. There's a Pac-Man world, a repack coming. It's basically like Mario and Donkey Kong or whatever, like actual adventure game that looks pretty cool, to be honest. So you don't really get much for Pac-Man like that, do you? I know you had Pac-Man Adventures, I think it was, which was like the point and click style game many years ago.
Really strange, didn't he? You just bit uncanny valley for Pac-Man.
This looks okay. This one called Blank, actually. Blanc, they said.
Blanc.
It's a black and white, like hand drawn thing. Ooh. And you play as a lost fawn, which is all in white, and a lost wolf pup, which is all in black. And you literally just go through this icy terrain, working together to get somewhere. It looks so good. I'll let you look that up a second.
I just looked it up and I found Donk, London's best dry cleaners.
Oh, maybe I got confused then.
Game. How to spell game? Oh.
Yeah, and the thing is, these are all going to be on Switch, aren't they? So.
That is very, very nice art style.
Yeah, it does look really cool, really good. And they said it's like a textless game as well. So from what I feel like, it's literally going to have no words in it at all. Literally just going to be like the noises in like the sounds of the game as you play. It'd be it could be quite a chill one.
Chill one, yeah.
We get Return to Monkey Island, which is a brand new Monkey Island adventure. Have you seen the art style of this?
Is it just like Monkey Island though? Wasn't there a Return to Monkey Island already?
It says a brand new adventure. When I looked at it, Return to Monkey Island. But
it's great though, to be fair.
I mean, I love the Monkey Island games. I don't think I'm sold on this art style though.
Is it like claymation-y?
No, it's weird. It's I don't really know how to explain it. It's like really weirdly. It looks like a cartoon I've seen of some kind. But I just don't. I think the art style really put me off the entire way through watching the trailer.
It's kind of like Grim Fandango. Have you ever played that?
Yeah.
But less.
Yeah, it's more. It's 2D compared to like obviously Grim's like 3D world. But I get what you mean. Yeah.
But their faces are flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a very blocky world. And it looks, the art style looks like one of like a BBC, like a CBeebies cartoon. Is the best way I can describe that. But I mean, it might. I mean, it'll probably be a good game because they all are. But it's just something about the art style. I'm not sure I like it.
It's very different from other Monkey Islands.
I mean, I know obviously one was 8-bit or whatever,
Yeah.
And then the second style was really good. It was that, like, obviously that iconic kind of style for a point and click comedy adventure kind of thing. This has just gone a completely different route. But I guess we'll see how it comes out.
Maybe you can get over the art style if you can appreciate the
Yeah.
the the Monkey Islandness of it.
Oh, well, like I said, I think it'd probably still be a good game. I think it's just because it's my initial shock that I wasn't expecting it to look like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such
up,
a departure from something that you really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just because it's the amount of time between all the games as well. But then we've got Mario and Rabbids, Sparks of Hope. Did you ever play the first one? Mario and Rabbids?
Is that? No, I played Kingdom Battle, which is the XCOM one.
Yeah, that's the first one. What it is.
Is that the first one? Yes, I played that.
Yeah. Well, this is the sequel and follow-up, but it's a different style of game. Instead of having your little run to then a level where you do your XCOM fight, it looks like it's more of a free roaming world, and then you get into fights a la running into Pokemon in the wild, and then it becomes turn based.
Okay.
So they've mixed it all up, so it looks a bit different. I think it would probably be. I didn't mind. To be fair, I've never really played like an XCOM style game before. I didn't mind Mario Rabbids, but I feel like this is probably going to be. I probably enjoy this better than I did the XCOM.
Yeah,
but it looked
a bit more accessible.
Yeah, it looked pretty good from what we saw, and Bowser becomes a playable character as well.
Oh, cool.
Team. Skip that. Coming full circle to a few weeks back, Sonic Frontiers. Next up, yeah, I'm just going over that. Next, have you heard of Disney Dreamlight Valley?
No, but I saw, because I was like, because you obviously, we discussed this before, so we don't bring the same news. Not that was much, because there's literally like 2 bits of news. I looked at it, I was like, that looks a bit weird.
It's like Stardew Valley meets Animal Crossing in Disney.
But it looked like the animation, the art style just looked like N64 to me. Maybe I was just.
Well, like... I mean, it's quite smooth, like from the CGI in that. Yeah, from like the trailer I watched and everything. I think it's free. I think it's a free to play one.
I just saw the guy that The Rock plays in Moana. His name I can't remember, and I was like, that him. that looks. Maybe the picture hadn't loaded properly, but it was really blurry, and it looked like.
Yeah,
it looked like a PS1 game.
No, the graphics are really good on it, like from what I've seen on the trailer. But that could be quite an interesting one. It's not on this here actually, but did you see that there's a Disney racing game coming out?
No.
There's a free-to-play Disney racer that's cross-play and everything coming out soon.
Okay.
I'm all for that. I'm gonna be Kuzco and
characters you can get.
I don't know yet. Obviously Mickey Mouse and that, and I think Simba I saw, but and Aladdin maybe. But I imagine there'll be like hundreds. There's so many characters, but
yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
That sounds fun.
Because we're going on a side tangent already.
Oh, we do tangents and make it last.
We do. And I think the last one I'll probably mention is Harvestella. This is Stardew Valley meets Final Fantasy. It's like a Final Fantasy character with the swords and everything, doing farming and stuff, but then you go out and fight monsters like you would in Final Fantasy and stuff. It looks such a weird amalgamation, like mixture of games, but I'm so intrigued.
Did you love Stardew Valley?
I mean, yeah, who doesn't? I love all farming games. Just give me a farming sim and I'm sorted. But yeah, I think that was pretty much the main contenders from that. So
I'm going back to this Disney kart racer.
Okay, did you find it?
Speedstorm apparently is called.
That's it. I do remember seeing a trailer a while back.
Because I was just intrigued. Oh, Mickey Mouse looks weird.
I might have to Google out what's it called, Speedstorm, just so I can.
Speedstorm.
Disney Speedstorm official site. Pre-register.
The maps look really cool. Like they've got a Pirates of the Caribbean, a Jungle Book map, a Monsters Inc. map.
Got Moana, Donald, Mickey.
I can't see the characters.
I've got a few on this. You've got Sully, Jack Sparrow. It looks like Belle. But for a free-to-play game,
Yeah, I mean,
with it being cross-play and it's available on everything, like the Switch and all that as well.
yeah.
So it could be quite a fun one for us to just have a weird
Buzz around in.
Yeah. Register.
This has brought up a Walt Disney World Magical Racing Tour, which is a PlayStation game from the 90s, and it's got Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Rescue Rangers.
Yay.
Now I'm very much off on a very big.
We've just gone like shopping now.
Oh, there's Jack Sparrow. That does look like Belle.
Captain Sparrow.
I love that song.
It's the fucking best. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Michael Bolton fan anyway, and the fact that he come along and did that with them just blew my mind.
Who doesn't love Michael Bolton?
Anyway, let's carry on, I guess.
That's the news. It was good. Brief and fun, maybe.
Did what we needed to do.
So seeing as it's just me and Tempus here today, I want to talk about our good friends, tabletop role-playing games.
Dun, dun, dun. Shock horror.
We are a gaming podcast, not a video game podcast.
We're all inclusive to every type of game.
Like board games and TTRPGs. So, Tempus, I would like to put to you, and I also put to one of the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns I'm in a Wild Mount campaign. Big up to Babs, Chowder, Esther, Tamar, and Sacer. And also our DM, our illustrious DM, Dan, put to them some questions about character building and world building. And I guess we're just going to sort of talk about how we like to create characters and maybe give some tips on how to create characters yourselves. And maybe a few tips on world building, which is more of Tempus's expertise here. Although I have done some world building myself for my Blades in the Dark games. So if you want to carry on listening, you might get some advice on how to, I say, make a decent all-round character, but none of my characters are that. They're all just chaos monsters.
They all have a gimmick.
Yep. And they all are me, just furry, usually. So, yes. So, I thought I'll just sort of have the question that was posed to me from my DM Dan when I asked this question, because he would like us to chat about and hear our opinions on whether we start off with a idea and then create the character around that, or you like choose a class and then create the character around that. Let's see what his actual words were, because
won't be that question at all.
Do you start with this is what he said, do you start with a mechanic or system in mind, or do you start with an aesthetic or non-function in mind. So I think what they're trying to get at there is, do you go, right, I would like to be a really dexterous monk and then build a character around that? Or do you go, right, I've got this idea for this character who lost his family and then build it around that?
I mean, it's difficult because I think I've done both at a certain time, and like especially when I first started making characters, I didn't really know what the game was. I just went with what sounded. Like my first character was a half-orc cleric with the war domain, and
big fighty bad boy.
Yeah, and his deity was Tempus. Hence where I got my name from, because he would yell Tempusbe as he ran into battle. There you go.
I know!
Origin story.
I'm
sure I've said this before.
No! You may have said it, I may have forgotten, but that
there you go.
Makes me feel good.
Origin story. But yes, but yeah, like because like early doors kind of thing, when I don't really know much about it, I just kind of thought, well, this sounds cool, I'll give that a go. And then as the years went on, I'd go, I'd love to play like this class. It wasn't necessarily the race that ever really triggered me to something. It was generally the class. I'd go, wanted to play one of these in a while. And then I'd just go on, because I have an app, just sit and I'd make something up, and then I'd sit there, and then half the time I'd come out and go, you know, I'm not invested in this now, because I'm just doing it on the fly for like kind of, I just want to make a character. Terrible for it. I love just making characters.
We've got a friend like that.
But
as a character for every single class and subclass and race.
Word. There's a lot of
listening,
characters.
Harry.
Cheap dick. But like as like I'd say my last two real characters I've made, like I've got one for the new campaign we started, which we haven't actually managed to play a lot of. The group keeps having issues together. It happens, it's life.
Yeah.
But I'd kind of did it actually last year when I was on holiday. Like he said, like, this is what we're doing. We were just chilling in the hotel room, sat there, and I was reading through. I was actually reading through the races and stuff and everything, and I come across the Reborn race. So basically, you play with the attributes of another race, but you get the attributes of a Reborn. Is basically you're dead and you come back to life. You don't need to eat, sleep, breathe, any of that kind of stuff. And I thought that was really good. And the fact that this campaign is called Waterworld, but I think that's just the nickname we've given it. But basically, we're on a boat. We're going to be on well, we haven't actually got the boat yet, but we'll have our own boat to then go and sail on. So I looked into like what would be a good thing, and I messaged him, and what if basically we start the campaign and I'm like already dead, like, but no one knows it. He's just kind of thrown me into the fray somehow. And I was looking around for like what I thought. I did go with, I thought, right, I've never played a warlock, so I'm going to make a warlock for this. It's quite funny because I was making it and everyone kept going, it sounds like Ford. And I was like, no, it's got nothing to do with Ford. How dare you? Because I'm human for one. But
I'm not going to go paladin. No.
No, I'm not. But because I've got plans for a paladin. You know, maybe down the line. But like I was like, well, I'm going to look at the things. I think I went with the literally on my phone. So let me get my.
If you didn't go with the undead warlock, what are you doing?
Exactly. Where is it? I went Lurker in the Deep, my patron saint, because we're on a world full of water, and I felt it just made sense.
Ukatoa, so you are Ford.
No, because it's not Ukatoa.
Keep
I
him locked away.
I don't actually think I made a note of who it was. That's how bad I am at some of this. But whoever it was, I can't remember his name. But basically, his symbol is like a jellyfish, and he's basically like a deity of water plane. But like the whole reason between this is there's just been a split between this world and the water plane, and the water plane's leaked in the world. That's why it's flooded.
Ooh, that's a cool world building mechanic. Like
Our regular DM is fantastic, so much better than I. But and I was like, what comes from there? Maybe he came through because like my story is I got like throat slit and thrown overboard because I was a smuggler. But like his thing is he's like, one of his forms is a jellyfish, and what I've done is to incorporate that for him to like bring me back to life and then enhance me with these powers and stuff. So I've got like the scars of like the jellyfish,
like sucker scars.
like it's like they're like because they look like you've been struck by lightning a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got them like down my face and across my neck.
Ooh.
But like and I'm not like you conventional long haired kind of thing. I've got like short hair, trimmed beard, like just a regular like shirt and buckled trousers and stuff. And I took tome, I think.
So this one
Yeah.
you built around the fact that you wanted to be dead. So you had an idea of what the character, what you wanted out of the character, and you built it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the other thing we do is it's a drop in and out one. It's called It is the Hunters Guild basically. So if one of us does drop out, but we want to still play D&D, we can.
We had that during lockdown. It was called the Ark.
And basically we've got it's a bit more of a like a we don't really care. It's just a fun laugh kind of session because a couple of the characters are just really like over the top. I made a character for it when we first started. And this was back when we did first start and didn't like them. So I binned them. And the idea is if we want to play someone different, we can just make it in. And I've played a couple of characters to try and bring someone into the fold or whatever. And every time I bring someone into it, no one really fits. Like, I don't know if I'm just trying to force myself into the narrative here with this new character, because obviously you've already got these established relationships between the majority of the group. But I had an idea. I can't remember where I got it from, but I basically wanted to make a cleric that only used a bow and arrow. Like they weren't really built for up close combat, but like they still had their distance, spells and stuff, and they could see the battlefield, as well as then do damage with the bow. So I was looking into it a little bit, and it was like, well, didn't like going full cleric for it. It just didn't seem to really work well with just like a bow and arrow kind, because they are supposed to be quite built for taking damage with the fact that they're up like their heavy armor and stuff. So what I ended up doing, and I shall get this one up as well, make it easier. Was because where we're quite high level in this, established characters I think are like level 15 at the moment. But anyone new has to come in a couple of levels lower. So I made like a level 13 character, and they are currently they've got 9 levels in fighter, 4 levels in cleric. So I formed this because like the Hunters Guild and everything, haunted one background.
Of course, it's the only background to take.
I wouldn't.
Come on now.
Like the way I worked it was in my head, and like I really enjoyed playing this character so much that I said to the guys, "Look, if we ever start a new campaign, I'm playing this character again from the start. Like I'm going to make it like this is them in the future. like when everything's said and done. But like, I want to play this character from the start. I want to do like his origins and everything.
Origin story.
Origins. But yeah, basically the idea is that he's the Tabaxi, by the way.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But like his entire tribe was wiped out by some unknown monster. And so he was just a hunter at the time, hence the fighter stuff. And he kind of lost his way trying to, like, he almost felt like he was punishing himself for what happened because he was out hunting at the time. All this, I've put more backstory into this character for like a one-off hunter's guild than I have for the majority of my major characters. And then that's when he gets. Pretty sure I wrote this. So bad at that. I never write down what the day, like, apart from Tempus because he's easy to remember. The others have all got really weird, like all got other like.
Do they your deities from the books, or do you use other?
I mean,
pantheons?
I Google like a specific kind of looking, like a very specific style of deity. Like when I went for the water one, I googled water deities basically, and then it bring up like then I go onto a wiki, and it'll bring up everything kind of. It'll be like a D&D wiki. It's everything that's kind of still in the book or whatever. I can't find her name now. I'll have to do it properly. This is my downfall with this. I get so engrossed in one thing, there's always something I forget. And it happens to be my gods.
It's always the god. Who cares? Who needs a god?
They're not real anyway.
Do you ever use roll tables to like determine things like backgrounds and stuff, or?
I have never. I normally pick what I think best suits what I've got an idea for the backstory is. I think we did it once in the past. I think actually no, my first character we did because we did it all like proper like
as the book says.
But the majority of the time, I just go, well, this feels like it would suit my character's ideal. And then, like, obviously, I'd already had an idea for a background. I was like, well, this is perfect for what would suit my character. Because sometimes they do work out that way. Other times they don't. Other times you choose a background that doesn't make kind of real sense with what you've got for your backstory is. So you kind of have to worm it around a little bit. But...
How into RP are you? How much do you use personality traits and flaws and those things?
I'm gonna be honest, I try, and I think the issue is when we first started we didn't really know what we were doing, so it was kind of hard. I think when I first started Tempest, I very much took the one thing I did remember was when I rolled was anyone that didn't like, I was basically out to tell the world that Tempest was the one and only true god. Hence why I shouted Tempusbe everywhere. And like, so like, and I know what you're saying. I try as much as I can, but sometimes when things are happening like with other people, and you're just like you're kind of caught up with what you're trying to do in like the mission kind of sense, kind of forget that I probably shouldn't be this welcoming to people and things like that. But I think it is difficult because the longest time we played was when we didn't know what we were doing. And then kind of since then, we've had very little game time because of the pandemic and the other stuff and people not being able to go and stuff. And it just kind of, it's hard to kind of get into the role of that character because you're not playing often. You kind of, I think that is the problem. If you don't play a character often enough, you forget a lot about what that character. I've oftentimes it's been months since we played, and I've had to go back and I've had to look at my character's stats and stuff, and all like the bits I've put into it, and I'm like, oh, I don't even remember having that. You know, that's the thing.
Yes.
Like you've got it's very it is good to have a regular session with characters, and I think like maybe what my thing would be, like I would say, is not to have too many sessions with too many characters running at once, because you probably will end up bleeding them over.
All of my characters are the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, that's fair then.
Slightly different accents.
Mine always end up Irish.
Either really posh me, some kind of like I do a pretty good belter from The Expanse. I like to think. I don't know what my other players would think, but it's that, or just have some kind of difficulty speaking.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'll either go like quite posh, like posh British accent. I'll go Irish, or I'll end up with like Southern American.
Yes.
Everyone goes to the deep south for their American accent.
It's the easiest one. And you just work it into like all of these characters are from the same place because they all have the same accent.
They're all part of the extended family.
All in deep south. So you're building a world currently, which I can't wait to jump into, hopefully at some point.
Hopefully.
How did you start your thought of that place? How did you come up with? Because I've seen a map.
Yeah.
Yes. How did you? What made you start thinking of that? Really, that wasn't a very good question, but still,
I know what you mean. Like, how did I decide that that's what I was going to kind of do for the world?
Yeah.
I didn't really.
How you place people.
I didn't really. I went on to I think it's called Incarnate.
Yeah.
It's like a map builder, and I'd done like a rough version of this map with a few of the names in the cities, which most of them I made up myself. That's why they're shit. And then obviously the help with like name generators, always helpful. And then
Latin translator's my best friend.
And then I was like, I want like this is my problem. I'd love to be artistic, but I'm not. I mean, if I had the ability to draw, I would be drawing so many D&D characters and maps and stuff. So what I basically did was I had a rough idea for kind of what I wanted the world to be, and then I screwed that into a ball, threw it in a bin. I basically took my list of cities, towns, and named places, found someone that makes maps, and I said, here's the names of all these places. Here's my one thing that I want in this. The rest of it, go to town, design it, you put them where you like. I think I gave input into two things. Like, this needs to be here. Like with this, like I mean, I would say like one place needed to be against some icy, snowy mountain, and the other thing needed to be like a giant canyon running through the entirety of the map. I said they're my two stipulations. Anything else you can put wherever you want. Just obviously, I've got two versions of the map as well. One which is just the major cities, and one which is cities and towns.
I haven't seen that one yet. Need to go buy a map.
Yeah. And they come back with it as basically, because it's the way I've got it, it's being spread over 2 like kingdoms.
Yeah.
But they've got it so it's kind of like on the coast of these 2. But it's not even like a full world map. We've literally got like one corner of this continent that will eventually probably get a world map at some point. But the fact that it felt good that I was like, because sometimes I stress too much about where things go and where I want things to be in particular. And it was quite freeing saying, like, these are my 2 major, like, these are the major things that I want in this. You go to town. The map came back so good. Like, it's very minimal. It's not like a really detailed map. It is almost like someone's drawn it on a piece of parchment, which was kind of what I wanted. But it was so freeing because I was then, these things would come up, and I'd look at the map, and I was like, well, I've got an idea for this place. An idea for this place now, which I didn't have before. That's the thing. I'm still. We were hopefully going to be doing it soon, but half of these places I haven't even got like anything for yet, and that is the one thing that is my downfall, is I try to go too big too early.
Yeah.
Like, I could quite have easily done a smaller map to get us started, but I want. I mean, because the thing is, you're not necessarily going to go to all these places either. But it's like it helps that you've got this bigger world out there. Because, I mean, if we get through this or whatever, we go back to do another one, newer characters, we could then have an extended world out from those kind of. I've created like the world, and these are just 2 continents in it. Like, obviously it helps as well, and this is one of my favourite things. Is obviously you got this. Was I asked, where would you like to come from on the map? It's one of my favourite things to do when, like, where do you want to come from on this map?
To bring your players in to help you build your world.
And then, like, from your point of view, you were like, well, this place looks cool. And then me and you had a bit of a back and forth discussion about kind of like what this place would be and everything. And between the pair of us, we've got a really, really good image in our heads of this fleshed out now, basically city inside a giant column of rock. Spoilers.
But you don't know what I am.
Oh.
What these people are in this place. Why I left there and where I went to and what happened.
Hopefully,
so
we'll find out soon.
You did come to us as characters and asked us like where you'd like to be from, but you also like, well, I don't know if you asked everybody else, but you also asked like, how do you know the other players? And then we built a backstory. Me and another player now have a joint kind of backstory, which I like as a player. Because that then doesn't mean we like all meet in a tavern sort of thing. When you have like a starting friendship already within the party, rather than have to work on that. Know nothing about the other characters yet, but working on.
I like to incorporate, because as much as like I'm running the game and like essentially building a majority of this world, and I've got an idea of what story is, not from start to finish. I have like kind of marker points where I'd like things to be and have a rough idea of where I'm going. But obviously, we all know that in role playing, things change. But I like the freedom of when things do happen during role play. Something might happen, and that will trigger an idea in my head. I'll be like, right, well, I can now this somewhere down the line. And not having the entire world fleshed out helps that way, because you can, if there is, for example, some group that suddenly starts terrorizing everyone, I can go, now I've got a home base for them over here somewhere, because you're in this region and you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's not like I've just got to make up the fact that they come from a cave in the mountains like 5 minutes down the road. You know, I can then go away and build a proper like backstory for them. And I think that's the thing as well. When you're playing it and you're building worlds and you're doing stories, you've got to kind of do it week by week. You can't ever really advance. Like you cannot plan an entire campaign before it starts, because it just won't ever work out that way.
No. So you have an idea of like where the story's going to go?
I have basically I have story arcs for all of the characters.
Yeah.
So all of you have given me bait for me to then latch onto and work into stories. So there's going to be overlapping story arcs and things like this. I've kind of got an idea for all of you where they're gonna go. Big bad ending wise, don't know where I'm going with it yet. But
the story, we will help you get there.
But that's what I mean. That's why I'm not worried, because once we kind of get going and get started and get rolling, things will then start coming into place and clicking, and something will kind of form in my head as you're playing the game.
Yeah.
I do have an idea for like a big, because I kind of want to do like you'll have your interlocking arcs which will go on for wherever like whichever way they go, but then I kind of want to have like major, like basically main missions, which are your major story arcs, as well as you're working your way through those. So there's always something kind of bigger on the horizon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And without spoiling too much, I have created a creature for the game. So
I love homebrew creatures.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know Monster Manual all that well, so I don't know a lot of characters, but it stops. I feel like it stops metagaming for people that do know the Monster Manual really well. And one of my other DMs, they are great at like reskinning things so that people expect it might be something else, but it's not. It's never what you expect, and I absolutely love it, because you think, oh, that might be a my flare, and it's not. You're like, what?
You know what? That's quite. It's quite funny actually. You say that, because in the Hunters Guild thing we played previously, we met some people that kind of didn't really act normal. They acted like really weird and suspiciously, almost like anonymously. And like one of our characters, like literally as we kind of got to this town or wherever, and he was like, "Are you a hive mind?" He was adamant that like, "Are you a hive mind?" Are you like hive mind and this kind of stuff. And as we went on through it, he'd basically made a town of doppelgangers that didn't know really how to act normal. So they would literally copy everything that any normal person would come into the town to do. Like we'd been sent to find another group of hunters that had gone missing, and we found these hunters, but they didn't know who we were, even though we were all from the same guild and everything. And they acted all weird. But like we went into the tavern, and they're all just sat there. There's food and drink in front of them, but no one's doing anything. And then like we ordered our drinks and stuff, and we sat there and we started drinking and everything. And then literally said, everyone in the tavern goes, like everyone, like they copy literally all of our movements. So it was really fun, because like in the back of our heads, again, we're like, as much as one of them was calling it out, we're all kind of like, this has got to be some kind of, combined, maybe a parasitic consciousness or something like that. But the fact that it was an entire town doppelgangers, and we'd passed one on the road, and this is the kicker as well, is it wasn't just a town of doppelgangers, it was doppelgangers and mimics, and they were then spreading out into the world, sell wares that were actually mimics. And I mean, I don't think he listens to this, so I don't. But like, one of our guys bought something off of the guy we met on the road, so that's gonna come back to haunt him at some point.
Oh dear.
But you know, it's quite funny because you could have easily gone, well, this is some kind of hive mind kind of whatever. But then for it to turn into like town of doppelgangers, like they were like, oh, come stay with us. We'll give you a house. You can stay for free. Like trying to get you to stay in this place. Like we let a chicken off when we got in there. Don't ask me why. And he said it goes around the corner. You can hear it clucking, and all of a sudden you just hear it like goes that as he like dies, and then that's it. And then he said like then we went in the tavern. We come out and he said when you come out, see the same chicken, but it's just like not like doing a chicken walk, like where it's bobbing his head and everything. It is like rock solid, like up straight, almost marching down the road. Like, and we was all like, what is going on here? So weird. But it's fun when things like that throw you off, when you do kind of know some of the monsters and creatures, things they do. And it's good to come across things you've never done, like you've never come up against it. Yeah, I think it's I think even for seasoned DMs, it can be quite difficult.
So I've been DM'd by quite a few people because of the way that our pin dropout sessions worked. We had, including myself at one point when I did DM, there was 5 of us, and they all DM in totally different ways. But for actual campaigns, they all the 3 campaigns I'm in work really differently. One of them asked us to give rumors, 1 true, 2 untrue, which I think is great. I loved thinking about that for this particular character because I mentioned it last week. Mortician, like family of morticians, was raised as a mortician, and I don't want to say anything just in case the other players listen. But one of the rumors was like, what? It's the fake one. It was. I had a lot of fun thinking about what would people of the town that this person came from would say about this character. So they wear a plague mask all the time, and they hide their face for everybody. So having a rumor about what's underneath the mask was quite fun to play around with, to build up sort of like bits like character of what other people think, not necessarily what they think about themselves. But then I also got to pick like some fun things that were real about them, which I didn't get a chance to think about. And for the Wildmount campaign, which I spoke to the guys about character building, Dan is he's very thorough. So he was like, right, we're gonna build this character, and we're gonna you're not allowed the amnesia backstory. You're an amnesiac and you don't know what's happened. We're gonna create a backstory, which then not forced me, because I had a lot of fun of doing it, but I created a whole society with a political structure of how their chiefdom works, and how it's passed down, and how what happens if there's no heir, and or if like and they have like I guess like a rite of passage, if you will. Okay. I take inspiration from all around me, and it's kind of like Heath, all right. But rather than going away and finding other tribes, they have to go on a giant hunt. That's because they're a blood hunter. They go away from their tribe and then they come back a hero sort of stuff. But that's how I world build. I use other people's worlds to then fit in with my or like once I just saw a really cool instrument and went, I can make a really cool bard warlock out of that. So have you ever heard of an harmonica?
An harmonica?
Harmonica. It is essentially an instrument made from do you know when people ring glasses and make a sound? It's an instrument that's that, basically. So it's a bunch of glasses that you then, and it makes a really haunting sound, and you can get small ones. So I thought, what about an undead warlock, bard,
Yep.
College of Whispers, of course, that plays one glass, an harmonica, just has like a glass full of blood.
Oh, gross, yeah.
That then plays to then cast the spells. And what if their warlock patron was essentially La Llorona? So you know, the crying woman of Mexican folklore. So basically, this woman was scorned and murdered on her wedding day, brought back to life by her patron, and now goes about getting justice for women scorned, basically. So she makes a haunting sound with her harmonica while killing horrible men.
I mean,
But I just saw that instrument and went and listened to it, and I was like, that's really creepy. I can create a really creepy character around that.
Thing is, like the way you've just described that, I'd have said that would have been some kind of like big bad.
Well, could be. Her form of, so the undead warlock has the form of dread. So if anybody's watching campaign 3, I've got a little bit of inspiration from Lordna, because the undead warlock is super cool. But her form of dread basically just, she was stabbed multiple times. So it's just that it starts bleeding onto a white dress in the stab areas where she was stabbed. And then just blood just seeps out. And then she's like cricks her neck and pulls out her harmonica and then just fires an Eldritch Blast. But can you imagine? She was an absolute mess, an absolute bumblefuck, but it was one of the funnest one-shots I've had.
I was going to say, actually, the character that you created for our thing was created by something entirely different, wasn't it?
Yes, so the character I created for the campaign that we hope to do soon, I bought a mystery dice bag from EGX in September last year, and it gave you a class and a race in that pack, and I created the character from that. And I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Wait to find out.
Wait to find out, but I just thought that combination is too funny not to try, and I've just built in little bits of me, because all of my characters do. I do drop in a little bit of me in all of them. I personally tend to look at subclasses and then build from there, except once where someone made a joke about, can you imagine a really small tabaxi paladin who's just positive all the time? And then I created my tabaxi paladin Sir Persalot, which is one of my favourite characters from just literally a joke. She is a 5'3" white tabaxi in full plate armour. holding a massive shield, and her god is like a blacksmithing god. So she's just always all about justice and stuff. It's great.
Love it.
But yeah, my current characters that I'm playing, there's 4 of them. 2 clerics, a druid, a full cleric, a cleric druid, another cleric druid, and a blood hunter. Hear me out. So, blood hunter, I wanted to see if anybody could play a blood hunter higher than a level 5, because Molly Mock died at level 5, and you never got to see what happened to a blood hunter as they get into higher levels. And blood hunter subclasses are pretty cool. Like, we're starting to see a lot more with Chetney in campaign 3, and I'm also a Lycan as well. That's what I chose because I like Travis Willingham, love werewolves and vampires, and any chance to be a werewolf or a vampire, I will go on to it. So because we're playing in a Wild Mount campaign, I thought, do a Wild Mount class, do a Matt Mercer class, and see how it goes. That's how I chose that subclass, that class and subclass. And as an ongoing joke that I am a fairy, because I absolutely love to play tabaxis, because I feel like their traits and stuff are good, like the extra bit racial abilities and stuff are really, really good. They've got their claws, they can climb, they've got climbing speed, they're a bit OP when it comes to characters, and obviously you get to be a cute little cat, which is always nice. So I chose a tabaxi because I wanted a bit more dex, because I wanted them to be a dex fighter, to have dex, to use their claws a lot more, to make their transformation a little bit more disgusting, basically. So that's why I chose tabaxi, but it doesn't make sense for a tabaxi to turn into a wolf. So my transformation is to a panther. So from a small sort of black cat into a panther. And she rips her skin off to do that. Right. So if you've seen, I think it's Van Helsing, where they literally pull off their human skin and then the wolf is underneath it. That's how Sesa changes her into her thing. So having claws to be able to just grab at the skin and just pull it off as you do a transformation is really cool to describe in combat. So that's how I came up with my blood hunter. I'm clerics because I want to be clerics, because they're the best class. So that's why I'm a cleric in everything else. My one for my Curse of Strahd, I wanted to play a race that necessarily wouldn't fit in with Strahd, because I was playing a grave cleric and I wanted the ability to. I'm a half orc, so I wanted the where you're knocked down and come back up with 1 HP.
Yeah.
So, I've forgotten what it's called. Resilient?
Yeah, something like that.
Because I think that makes sense for a grave cleric to not die straight away. But because it's not, going into Barovia as a half orc would be really difficult to do. You can hide like half elf, because you can just like cover ears, and it's usually human. So I thought, how do I combat that if I want to be a half orc to fit in with the grave cleric? Plague mask.
Plague mask.
Plague mask never takes off a plague mask. It was also helped with actually a rolling table for the grave cleric, and it has one of them is a tribal mask that you never remove. So I used that to then build. So I do tend to use personality traits quite often to help me build more personality in a character. So that's how I built them. And I just wanted to be a Twilight cleric because Twilight clerics are awesome.
Oh yeah, I looked at that when I was gonna make a character a while back, and I was like, this is so good.
I wanted to have like just the ultimate healing, like not a battle cleric. They are not there to. They will pop off a guiding bolt every now and then, but they are there to either manage the battlefield, so like making people sleep or holding them in place, things like that, or bringing out your Twilight Sanctuary and just healing all the time. That's what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have. And I just built out from Twilight cleric to how that character would look. So she is literally perpetuated in Twilight.
Yeah.
And as the story went on, I literally went, she's an amnesiac. I did that background. Woke up basically in a torched area, half burnt face, with her deity in front of her, and that's all she remembers. And as the story went on, I was like, I should really build more of this. Like maybe actually think about what her backstory before she lost her memory was. So I decided, because I also wanted to maximize on the healing aspect, I was like, why don't I do a dip in Druid, do a couple of dips in Druid, and then become a circle of, what's her circle? Dreams? Circle of Dreams?
It is a circle.
Which gives you Balm of the Summer Court, which is another healing, a bonus action healing that you can do. And I thought, but why would she have Druid? Why would she dip into Druid? Where does that come from? And then I ended up building a whole tribe of nomadic druids where she is from. And she made a decision to leave at one point after a big battle because she what is the spell? What is it? Planar Ally? She did the spell Planar Ally. When that costs money. It didn't currently have money, so she bartered herself, her services. So she was then whisked away and the character was gone. Which then made me think, what am I going to play now? Who am I going to play now? Who are they going to meet? And I ended up building her family, and they meet her sister. I've ended up playing her sister, who is a druid cleric, not a cleric druid.
Well, obviously.
Obviously, so she's got more levels in druid than she does cleric. Circle of the Stars, with a dip in Forge cleric. It works, okay? It works. Doesn't sound like it would work, but it works. And so the reason I built her is to be a counterpart to her sister, who there's 3 major deities in this world. So one follows the light and dark, the Twilight cleric is the light and dark god. And then you have a god of time, and then you have a god of matter and lack thereof. So like a god of the void. So Sim, Twilight cleric, is the light and dark. That's what her aesthetic is about. There is a third sister, that is the time sister, and then there's this sister who is void, stars, matter, all of that sort of stuff. So they represent the 3 different deities in this world, and then we had to build up all of that. But then because that character was created, who is stars, based around stars, I then needed to create constellations.
Oh my god.
In the night sky to help with like how I cast augury and things like that. So by creating one character at the beginning of this, that had no backstory at all. I've ended up then creating a whole night sky. That's how world building works. That's how it do. So no, we necessarily didn't give tips of how
we just talked about it.
How to do these things, how to create characters, but
we'll just you've reminded me that there was one thing that we was doing. It's almost like a Hunters Guild weird thing, because it was supposed to be a bit more of like a not serious camp like thing. It was just a bit of a laugh. Basically, we worked in a magical supermarket. We were all people that worked in like a superstore that people could come to and buy their like potions and wares and things like that. And we basically all had to create a character that worked in like a different department of this superstore. And
that's cool.
And then like we only ever played it once. And unfortunately, I did lose the character I was playing. I really enjoyed it. But I was playing a 16-year-old witch.
Not a witch.
Yeah, she was a fire genasi, and she worked the checkout. She would sit there doing like her nails or writing in a book or whatever. She'd be using Mage Hand to move the items across the thing, and her familiar, which was a crow, would sit in the back and go beep as the items went through, and she was like your proper moody 16-year-old. Yeah, she would give so much attitude and everything. And the best thing is like she come from like two really nice parents, like really upstanding parents, and she was like, it's almost like the rebelling goth phase of a.
Was she a wizard? Was she?
No, she was a witch. She was an actual witch.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
So
funny.
And I think what was it? The best thing was like I think she can't remember it because I like I said lost character. She had this really like she called herself like something really like like proper shit like dark
Raven.
Yeah, something like that. But her name was really like Clarice. Something like it was like just a regular name. And it's like the manager or someone would call her by the name. She'd always give the attitude like, that's not my name.
So did the other characters have to create their department or where they were?
Yeah.
And why they worked in that department?
It was.
Oh, I love that idea. That's such a cool. Maybe in a session 0 to go right. Question to ask your players if you're starting a new campaign. If you worked in a department store, which department would you work in?
You could always session 0 could be your orientation. Yeah. Everyone's in like the orientation meeting.
If you've watched Superstore, it's like when they're in the break room every morning, and they've got like the DM is the general managers giving you the announcements. It was
what was it? I can only remember a couple of them. Other characters. I think one was elf that worked in the botanical department. There was all like the giant man-eating plants and stuff, and I went up there to buy weed off him.
Definitely a druid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he was a druid. Yeah, that's it. He was a druid.
Druids make the best weed.
I think you had a Goliath barbarian. Where he was security guard, but he was dumb as fuck. I mean, grog, but and then you had a dwarf. I can't remember what class he was, but he was like the store manager. So he'd always have to get the stock out and things like that. And then there was another one was he was a tiny orc. He worked in like the IT department, and he had like massive, like thick glasses on and everything.
I did once make for the Rick and Morty Dungeons and Dragons crossover one shot an Aarakocra barbarian who gets rage because he was an accountant He was so bored, it used to make him really angry. He just hated numbers. would get raged because he hated numbers so much.
Love it.
I thought that had to be stupid because it's Rick and Morty, and a bird person, obviously Rick and Morty, that gets angry because of numbers.
Brilliant. I think
it's all numbers.
I think it's nice to have like just an almost comic relief kind of campaign every now and then, just to have fun with the D&D side of things, rather than, because I mean, I know you can still have fun playing it, but like if you're just like, this is just batshit crazy, anything goes, like with this again, like with this supermarket one, I've had to make another character because we want to go back to it at some point. So I've made a Triton. He's the janitor, and he cannot work out for the life of him why every time he mops, there's still wet patches behind him. And his name is literally Janitor.
Janitor.
Dr. Jan Etor.
I, again, for a sort of semi less serious campaign, I used a trope. So the trope of 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Yes.
So I had three kobolds in a trench coat. Was a rogue. Was an arcane trickster rogue. Who all of their names were Patrick. Patrick, and Patrick, all spelled differently. But I used to, like, when they split up, I used to have to, like, split their hit points.
Wow, okay.
And so, yeah, they would jump, and you had, like, the top guy, Top Patrick, CK Patrick. He was the muscle, so he did all the stabbing and stuff. And you had the middle Patrick, who did all the magic. He was Patrick with just a K. And then the bottom Patrick was just the legs. Patrick with a C.
Just the legs? Nothing else?
He didn't do anything else apart from walk.
I love it.
I just like to, anytime, like, obviously at the beginning when you don't have your subclass and we started at level 1, like those 2 Patricks didn't do anything, so it was just like stab, that was it. And then when I did Arcane Trickster, I just described like this head poking out the middle of the trench coat, hand poking out, firing off like, I can't remember what spell it was, probably, I don't know, like a chill touch or something. But that was the only time you would see him. If you want to poke out, do a quick spell and go back inside.
Love it.
He used to wear a big hat because he used to pretend that he was a dragonborn. It's like, no, you're not. You're 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
I can't remember his name now, but it reminds me of, have you seen BoJack Horseman?
I have not, no.
Character in it is basically kids in a trench coat. And like his arms, one's a broom. It's so good. I love BoJack.
Sometimes you got to take inspiration from memes, and I saw that meme. I saw 3 kobolds in a trench coat. I thought that would be a funny character to play, and it'd be funny if their names were all Patrick.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I don't know if this has just been a rambling absolute.
This has just been
rambles.
Chatter about characters in the end, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I've had a good time. Have you had a good time, Tempus?
I have. I've laughed.
It's a short one this week, you guys, because we're both very tired. And it's getting dark in Tempus's room.
I know. I the light's all the way over there, and I was like, I can't be bothered. Hang on. Watch on my phone. Spooky now. Spooky.
Always create spooky characters in all D&D games. I should have talked about how I created my world for Blades in the Dark. Basically, I wanted it to be real spooky, so I did that. Used a lot of inspiration because Blades in the Dark is very good with its play setting, so it's like playing a written campaign source book stuff. I've just given it my own edge because I wanted more ghosts in it. So, because I like ghosts. So when you're world building, I highly suggest using the world around you to create what you want and just have fun. Have fun with your characters. And don't worry about them being original, because nothing is going to be original.
Someone's
Just
done it before.
Take inspiration. Be another Vex. Be a Keyleth. Be a Jester, because Jester's the best. And just do it. Just do what you want. I hope you've enjoyed me and Tempus just gushing about our characters, and I hope you're all excited about seeing Tempus's world one day.
Hopefully.
Hopefully soon.
We'll get an actual story together.
Yes. Crack on with that. Join our Discord.
Do it.
Come and talk to us about characters that you've made.
Yes.
How you got to them.
If enough people want to play some kind of D&D, I did have an idea of like a Discord and Dungeons where you could you do texting. Like you kind of do text-based D&D in Discord. I don't know how well that would work, but
I love that idea. Or I reckon we should just do a dual DM game. just
the carnage.
In the chat. Just get a bunch of people.
Listening to how in depth you get with characters and stuff, I'd love for you to run a D&D campaign, something, and just see what world you come up with. I'd be in that. So deep.
I would happily either run a D&D game or a Blades in the Dark. If anybody wants to have a go at Blades in the Dark, you guys, I've got so many fucking ideas. It's so easy to play too. But no, I would do a one shot. You will only ever get spooky with me though, guys. I don't do not spooky.
Fine. That is fine.
Look how spooky Tempus is right now. Yes, join the Discord. Come and speak to us. We've had a few new listeners after last week, which are very fun time we had with our good friend Jessie.
Yes.
So we want to see you in the Discord. But remember to check your coat, because I will get angry with you otherwise.
I'm just trying to get the perfect angle.
Yeah. You're mice facing it right now.
That's
it. We are the Unnamed Gaming Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at T_U_G_P. We tweet sometimes. We do that. That's how we do.
A bit more often.
We should really, but you know, you can ask us questions there, because we're really running low, as you can see with this current podcast. Ask us questions about stuff. Come and see.
Just sit in the dark. It's fine.
We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube if you want to see our okay faces. We're on Instagram. Where else are we? Facebook. No, we're not on
Facebook. We're not on OnlyFans. Yet.
We
haven't got Reddit.
Let's put a subreddit and have one person. Just put us on it.
Yeah, that's it.
Discord, that's where we want you to be.
Yes.
We want to see you every day. Someone says good morning every single day. And I love them for it. I love waking up to the 6:30 a.m. good morning that we get every day. We love you. Keys.
We do.
So who are you? Where are you based?
I am found on every corner of the internet, including the dark web, as Tempusbe.
You have to come running at that follow button, shouting Tempusbe.
Yeah.
Like a warry cleric.
Literally.
Tempusbe!
I need a comment on like YouTube or one of the podcast things now of just Tempusbe in all capitals.
Yep. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Exactly. So I know that you're shouting it.
Yeah, do that. If you've made it this far. If you've made it this far into this ramble fucking mess, please leave a comment of just Tempusbe. I'm Bendy. Please.
And you will get the nod / thumbs up of approval.
You certainly will, from every single one of us.
Yes.
I'm Bendy. I don't know if I've told people why on this podcast why I'm called Bendy, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Maybe one day, on all of the platforms, Bendy Ben's costuming, I make things sometimes. Then sometimes post pictures of it.
Awesome. We do also have our missing member. You can find her everywhere as Nettlecreates.
Nettlecreates. Also,
we miss you.
Hashtag where's Nettle?
Hashtag where's Nell?
Please, let's find Nettle before next week.
Yes.
Dust the dust off and find her in wherever she may be. We love you very much. And we really appreciate you listening to us. So have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.